The room went quiet when my daughter looked up at me with wide eyes and said, "Mom." Grandpa whispered something to me. "Is it true?" Christmas lights blinked red and green behind her. Carols hummed low from the TV. My father stood frozen by the tree, his hand still hovering near her shoulder, like he had just touched fire. I felt my heart slam, so hard it hurt. I forced a smile. "Sweetheart, what did he say?" She swallowed. She was only 9. Too young for secrets like this. Too young for fear to wrinkle her forehead. "He said," she whispered, leaning closer to my ear, "that you lied to me my whole life. And that Santa isn't the only thing you're hiding." My breath disappeared. My dad's eyes met mine. Cold. Certain. Almost proud. I knew, right then, Christmas was over. And so was my old life. Before I tell you what he whispered next, and why it destroyed everything, please, if you feel this knot in your chest already, like this story, stay with me till the end and subscribe. Because what my own father didn't stop with a whisper. It ended in sirens. My name is Emily Carter. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. I worked as a medical billing clerk at a small clinic near Lakewood. Nothing fancy. Just honest work. I had one daughter, Lily, and she was my whole world. Her father left when she was 2. No drama. No court. Just gone. My parents, Robert and Susan Miller, stepped in after that. They helped with daycare. Came to school plays. Took Lily for ice cream after church on Sundays. I trusted them. Especially my dad. He was the kind of man neighbors waved at. The kind who volunteered at food drives. The kind people called solid. That's why what happened that Christmas broke me in a way I still can't explain without shaking. Earlier that day, everything felt perfect. Snow dusted the sidewalks. Lily wore her red sweater with the reindeer. We drove to my parents' house, singing along to the radio. She kept asking if Grandpa would make his famous hot chocolate. When we arrived, the house smelled like cinnamon and pine. Wrapping paper covered the floor. My mom hugged us tight. "You made it," she said, smiling too big. I didn't notice it then, but her hands were shaking. Dinner went smoothly. Turkey. Mashed potatoes. Laughter. My dad carved the meat and told one of his old jokes. Lily laughed so hard milk came out of her nose. I remember thinking, maybe things are finally okay. After dinner, Lily sat by the tree opening gifts. Dolls. Books. A bike helmet she'd wanted. That's when my dad leaned down. He waited until I was helping my mom in the kitchen. Until the TV was loud. Until no one was watching. He whispered into my daughter's ear. I didn't hear the words, but I saw Lily's smile fade. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just looked confused, then scared. Then she stood up, walked across the living room, and asked me that question. "Is it true?" I asked my dad calmly. "What did you say to her?" He straightened up. Nothing she didn't deserve to know. My mom dropped a plate. It shattered. "Robert," she said sharply. "Not now." My dad didn't look at her. He kept his eyes on me. "She's old enough," he said. "You should have told her years ago." Told her what? I knelt in front of Lily. My voice trembled. "Baby," Grandpa's confused. "Whatever he said." He said, Lily interrupted, her voice small, "that you're not really my mom." The room spun. I laughed. A sharp, broken sound. "That's not funny, Dad." My father's mouth curled into a thin smile. "Then tell her the truth." My heart pounded so loud I thought Lily could hear it. I looked at my mom. She wouldn't meet my eyes. That's when I knew. Something was very, very wrong. I took Lily's hand. "We're leaving." My dad stepped in front of the door. "You walk out now," he said, "and I call the police." "For what?" I snapped. "For kidnapping." The word hit me like ice water. My mom finally spoke, tears streaming down her face. "Emily, please. Just listen." I grabbed Lily, pulling her close. She was shaking. "Grandpa," she whispered, "why would you say that?" He crouched down to her level again. His voice was gentle now. Almost kind. "Because I love you," he said. "And I don't want you living a lie." I screamed. Get away from her. That's when the knock came. 3 hard knocks. The room froze. My dad smiled. I already called, he said. 2 police officers stepped inside moments later. Blue coats. Heavy boots. Calm faces. Ma'am. One said, looking at me, we got a report of a possible custodial issue. Lily clutched my neck. Mom, I'm scared. I held her tight. It's okay. Mommy's here. My dad handed the officer a folder. I have documents, he said. Birth records. Statements. The officer opened it. His face changed. He looked at me slowly. Ma'am, he said, we need you to come with us. What? I cried. I didn't do anything. My father crossed his arms. Emily, he said softly, this is what happens when lies catch up. Handcuffs clicked. Cold metal closed around my wrists. Lily screamed my name. And that's where everything stopped. The police car door slammed shut, and the sound echoed inside my chest. Lily's face was pressed against the living room window as they walked me outside. Snow fell softly, like nothing bad was happening. Like this was just another Christmas night. Mom, she screamed. Mom, don't go. I tried to run back to her, but the cuffs cut into my wrists. One officer gently pushed me forward. I didn't kidnap my own child, I cried. Please. She's mine. The older officer avoided my eyes. Ma'am, we'll figure this out downtown. Downtown. Like this was paperwork. Like this wasn't my life tearing in half. As the car pulled away, I saw my father put his arm around Lily. She didn't hug him back. She stood stiff, confused, watching me disappear. That image burned into my mind. At the station, they took my phone, my purse, my shoelaces. They sat me in a cold room with gray walls and a buzzing light. Hours passed. Finally, a woman in a suit walked in. Brown hair, tight smile. I'm Assistant District Attorney Karen Wells, she said. Your parents have filed a report. For what? I asked, my voice hoarse. She slid papers across the table. For fraud, identity falsification, and unlawful custody of a minor. I laughed. I couldn't help it. That's insane. She didn't laugh. According to the papers, Lily had been born at a private clinic in Columbus, not Cleveland. According to the documents my father provided, Susan Miller, my mother, was listed as the legal guardian at birth. My name was there too, but under relationship, it said, aunt. My heart stopped. That's fake, I said. That's impossible. Ms. Wells folded her hands. We'll see what the court decides. They put me in a holding cell that night. I sat on a bench, hugging myself, replaying everything. Lily's birth, the hospital room, my mom holding my hand, my dad bringing flowers. Had it all been a lie? By morning, I was released on temporary bond. No apology, no explanation, just a court date. I went straight to my parents' house. The door was locked. I knocked until my knuckles hurt. My mom opened it just a crack. Please, I begged. Let me see her. She looked older, smaller. She's sleeping, she whispered. Mom. I said, what did you do? Tears spilled down her face. Your father said it was the only way. The only way for what? For you to keep her, she said. I stared at her. Keep her from who? She shook her head and closed the door. I stood there until the cold soaked through my coat. When I finally drove home, my phone exploded with messages. My boss. My landlord. Friends I barely talked to anymore. By noon, my boss called me into his office. I'm sorry, Emily, he said, not meeting my eyes. We can't have this kind of situation. I haven't been charged, I said. But you're under investigation, he replied. We're letting you go. Just like that, my job was gone. I drove to Lily's school next. The front desk lady smiled until she saw my name on the screen. Then her smile faded. I'm sorry, she said. We were told Lily is no longer in your custody. I dropped my keys. No, I whispered. That's wrong. She looked uncomfortable. You'll need to speak with the district. I walked back to my car in a fog. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, staring at Lily's empty bed. Her stuffed bear still sat on the pillow. I called a lawyer. Then another. Then another. Most wouldn't take my case. One finally did. Mark Jensen, a family attorney in Cuyahoga County. He listened quietly, flipping through the copies I'd made of everything. "Emily," he said carefully, "your parents planned this." I laughed again. "Why?" He tapped the papers. "Because if they're listed as her legal guardians, they can claim you never had full custody." "But I raised her," I said. "I paid for everything." He nodded. "That helps. But these documents are old, and courts take them seriously." Days passed. I wasn't allowed to see Lily. Every time I called, my mom said she was busy or confused. My dad never answered. Then the letters started coming. Bills. Legal fees. A notice saying my bank account was frozen pending investigation. I sold my TV, my couch, even my car. Still, it wasn't enough. One afternoon, I finally snapped and drove to my parents' house again. This time, Lily was in the yard. She ran toward me. "Mom," she cried. I fell to my knees and hugged her so tight she squeaked. "I missed you," she said. "I missed you more," I whispered. My dad stormed out. "You can't be here," he barked. "She's my daughter," I yelled. He pulled Lily away from me. "She needs stability," he said. "Not lies." "Tell me the truth," I screamed. "Why are you doing this?" He leaned close, his breath hot with anger. "Because she was never supposed to be yours." Before I could ask what that meant, a car pulled up behind me. 2 more officers stepped out. One read from a paper. "Emily Carter," he said, "you are in violation of a temporary restraining order." "What?" I gasped. "I didn't know." "Turn around," he said. Lily screamed again. And just like that, the cuffs were back on my wrists. The jail smelled like bleach and old fear. They put me in a small room with a metal bench and a camera in the corner. My wrists ached where the cuffs had been. My head throbbed, but the worst pain sat deep in my chest. Lily's scream followed me everywhere. "Mom, Mom, don't leave me." I pressed my palms to my ears, but it didn't help. Hours later, my lawyer, Mark Jensen, finally came. His face was tight, serious in a way that scared me more than yelling ever could. "They escalated things," he said. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means your father filed an emergency motion," Mark replied. "He's claiming you're unstable, that you're dangerous." I stared at him. "Dangerous?" Mark slid new papers across the table. My father had written a statement saying I had violent mood swings, that I had threatened to take the child and disappear, that he feared for Lily's safety. None of it was true, but it was written neatly, calmly, like facts. "The judge granted temporary full custody to your parents," Mark said quietly. "Effective immediately." The room tilted. "No," I whispered. "No, no, no." Mark leaned closer. "Emily, listen to me. This is temporary. We can fight it." "How?" I cried. "They have everything. They have her." He hesitated. "That's not all," he said. My stomach dropped. "They're also requesting a psychological evaluation," he continued. "Court ordered." I laughed weakly. "So now I'm crazy?" "They're trying to make you look that way," he said gently. I spent that night in a cell again. This time, I didn't cry. I just stared at the wall, replaying my whole life. Every memory with Lily. Her first steps. Her first day of school. The way she liked her sandwiches cut into triangles. By morning, I felt hollow. When I was released, the world outside felt louder. Meaner. I went home to find a notice taped to my door. Eviction pending. I slid down the wall and sat on the floor. They were erasing me, one piece at a time. Days turned into weeks. I wasn't allowed near Lily's school. Not allowed near my parents' house. Not allowed to call her. But she called me. One night, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. "Mom," a tiny voice whispered. I almost dropped the phone. "Lily," I breathed. "They said I can't talk to you," she said quickly. "But Grandpa isn't home." My heart broke open. "Are you okay?" I asked. She hesitated. "Grandpa says you're sick." I swallowed hard. Do you believe him?
No, she said.
But Grandma cries a lot. Before I could say more, the line went dead. I held the phone to my chest like it was her. That call gave me strength.
And fear.
Because I knew something was very wrong inside that house. Mark pushed for supervised visitation. My parents refused. Then came the psych evaluation. A cold office. White walls. A woman with a clipboard asking me questions about my childhood. Do you ever feel angry? She asked. Yes, I said. Anyone would. She wrote something down. Do you feel betrayed? Yes, I said louder. Because I was. More writing. Every honest feeling felt like a trap. A week later, Mark called me. They submitted the report, he said. And I asked. And it doesn't look good. I felt sick. They're saying you show signs of emotional instability under stress, he continued. They're recommending limited contact until further review. Limited contact. With my own child. That night I broke. I screamed into a pillow until my throat burned. I punched the wall until my knuckles bled. Then something inside me changed. If my parents wanted a war, they were going to get one. I started digging. Old files. Old emails. Birth records. I went to the hospital where Lily was born. The clerk frowned at her screen. These records were amended, she said. By who? I asked.
She checked.
Your father. My hands shook. I went to the county office next. Same answer. Everything had been edited.
Changed.
Signed years ago. Then I found something strange. A name. Daniel Brooks. Listed on an old intake form. Not as Lily's father, but as a financial sponsor. I didn't recognize it. I Googled him. My breath caught. Daniel Brooks had died 9 years ago. In a car accident. The same week Lily was born. My heart started racing. I pulled the police report. The accident happened just outside Columbus. Late at night, a drunk driver hit him head-on. Witnesses said he was leaving a private medical clinic. The same clinic listed on Lily's birth record. My hands went numb. I drove to my parents' house without thinking. I didn't care about the order anymore. I needed answers. My mom opened the door. Her face went white when she saw me. Emily, she whispered. You shouldn't be here. Who is Daniel Brooks? I demanded. She started shaking. My dad appeared behind her. You need to leave, he said. Was he Lily's father? I screamed. Silence. My mom collapsed into a chair, sobbing. My dad's jaw tightened. She was never meant to know, he said coldly. I lunged toward him. Before I could reach him, a loud voice shouted from behind me. Emily Carter. I turned. Police cars lined the street. Lights flashing. Neighbors watching. An officer stepped forward. Sir, he said to my father, are you pressing charges for trespassing? My dad didn't hesitate. Yes, he said. And I have something else. He handed the officer a small bag. My heart stopped. Inside were pills. Prescription pills. Not mine. She threatened me, my father said loudly. She said she'd make us pay. The officer looked at me. Ma'am, he said, turn around. I stared at my father. He didn't look away. And that's when I realized this wasn't about custody anymore. This was about destroying me. The jail cell felt smaller than before, but this time I wasn't empty. I was angry. And anger, when it's clear, can be powerful. Mark came to see me the next morning. His eyes were bright in a way I hadn't seen before.
They messed up, he said.
I sat up.
How?
He slid a folder through the slot. Those pills your father gave the police? They were traced. I leaned forward. They were prescribed, Mark continued. But not to you. My heart started beating faster. They were prescribed to your mother, he said. 2 years ago. I closed my eyes. For the first time, the lie cracked. Mark leaned closer. And there's more. The police report you pulled? About Daniel Brooks? Yes, I whispered. We subpoenaed the clinic, he said. They tried to fight it, but the judge ordered full disclosure. My breath caught. And your father paid them, Mark said quietly. paid them to change records, to list your mother as guardian, to erase a name. Daniel Brooks, Lily's real father. The truth hit the court like a thunderclap. 2 weeks later, I stood in a courtroom in Cuyahoga County, my hands shaking but my back straight. My parents sat across from me. My father looked confident, still smiling. The judge asked him to explain the documents.
He spoke calmly, carefully.
Then Mark stood. He played the audio. A phone recording. My father's voice filled the room. She doesn't need to know. Emily would ruin everything. The child is better with us. Gasps echoed. My mother started crying. Then came the bank records. The payments. The altered forms. The judge's face hardened. Mr. Miller, he said, you knowingly falsified legal documents. You made false police reports. You planted evidence. My father's smile vanished. He stood up. I was protecting my family. No, the judge snapped. You were controlling it. The bailiff stepped forward. Robert Miller, the judge said, you are remanded into custody pending trial for fraud, obstruction, and false reporting. Handcuffs closed around my father's wrists. For once, he looked small. My mother collapsed into tears. Then the judge turned to me. Emily Carter, he said gently, this court recognizes you as Lily's legal mother. Full custody is restored immediately. I cover my mouth. I'm so sorry, he added. This should never have happened. They brought Lily in. She ran to me like her body knew before her mind did. Mom, she cried. I dropped to my knees and held her. I knew you weren't lying, she whispered into my neck. I kissed her hair. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Later, outside the courthouse, reporters shouted questions. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Justice had spoken. My father was sentenced months later to state prison. My mother moved away. I don't know where. Sometimes, at night, Lily asks about Grandpa. I tell her the truth, in words a child can hold. He made bad choices, I say. And bad choices have consequences. We live in a small apartment now. Nothing fancy. But it's quiet. Safe. Every Christmas, we light the tree together. And every time the lights blink on, I remember. He tried to take my child with a whisper. I took her back with the truth.